She always made her tea at precisely 7 a.m., in the same chipped mug with faded roses on the side. Gloria had been living alone for over a decade in the quiet countryside of northern Oregon, where the moss grew thick on the trees and the mornings were always shrouded in mist. At 70, Gloria was not necessarily unhappy, but she had long stopped expecting surprises. Her husband, Peter, had passed away 15 years ago, and although she'd mourned him deeply, the house had become still long before his final breath. Their grown children visited on holidays, called on birthdays. Yet most days felt like echoes. Nothing new, nothing sharp enough to interrupt the hum of routine. But then came that morning in May. Gloria was rearranging a box of old scarves she hadn't touched since her 50s. She had once worn them to galleries, fundraisers, and music halls, back when her life hummed with social rhythm. That day, her fingers brushed against a letter. Yellowed, fragile. Had no stamp. Just her name in handwriting she hadn't seen in decades. It was from Marlene. Marlene had been her closest friend in college. No, more than that. Her mirror, her shadow, her firebrand. They had once dreamed of running away to Paris together to paint and smoke and live in wide-brimmed hats and flowing skirts. But life, as it tends to do, had split them like river forks. Marlene to the East Coast, Gloria to marriage and 3 children. Gloria sat on the edge of the bed, her hand trembling as she read the brief but potent message. If you ever wonder about the path not taken, I still do too. I'm in Seattle now. If you want to talk before we're too old to remember anything at all, call me. I'd like that. The date on the letter. 3 years ago. Gloria didn't hesitate. I called. Marlene answered. The voice on the other end cracked and lit her like a match to dry bark. Within minutes, they were 20 again. Laughing, remembering. But it wasn't just nostalgia. Something more urgent pulsed beneath the conversation. They had been watching the calendar for too long. Something needed to be lived now. The following week, Gloria packed a weekend bag. It felt absurd and wonderful and frightening all at once. At the train station, she stood with a scarf fluttering around her neck like an old movie star waiting for her cue. When Marlene stepped onto the platform, they didn't hug at first. They stared, recognizing and rediscovering each other in equal measure. Their weekend in Seattle was quiet but deep. Walks in the Arboretum. Espresso at a tucked-away cafe where the barista spoke French. They didn't speak of regrets, only of what still stirred in their bellies. Curiosity, creativity, and in a quiet corner of their hearts, a longing that had never been fully named. When Gloria returned to Oregon, she opened her attic for the first time in years. Canvases, acrylics, a whole forgotten life tucked into dust-covered boxes. She began painting again. First flowers, then faces, then shadows. Her art was not pretty. It was honest, raw with streaks of violet, like bruises healing under skin. She emailed Marlene photos. Marlene sent back poems. Their connection bloomed again. Not with urgency but with depth. And for the first time since Peter's death, Gloria didn't feel like she was fading. In the town where she lived, neighbors noticed. She wore brighter scarves. She laughed louder. A widowed friend once asked her, "Did you meet someone?" Gloria smiled. "Yes, myself." But she had also met Marlene again. And maybe, in some quiet, extraordinary way, they were both meeting the future they had once postponed. On her 71st birthday, Gloria stood in front of a room of strangers at the community center gallery. Her artwork behind her. She wore crimson lipstick and a blue linen dress that draped like ocean waves. Someone asked, "What inspired this piece?" She paused. Then she said, "Remembering that not everything ends. Some things just wait." And the room went silent, moved not by age, not by nostalgia, but by the fierce reminder that even after 70, a woman can still wake up. Not just from sleep, from silence, from doubt, from the lie that she's already had her story. Gloria's was just beginning again.